me start off and ask you a question. Does language affect how we see our world? Language affect how we see our world. The other day I was in a paint store and I'm looking to paint my room, and I love yellow. As you can see, I have a yellow t-shirt on today. But I'm looking at these different swatches of yellow, and I see a sunshine yellow. I have also in my hand a fire engine yellow, and then I see a mellow yellow. Okay, these are the names of the different types of paint that I can choose. The question is, would I choose the mellow yellow, because that's what the feeling I want to portray in my room, over the fire engine yellow? Because the language, the use of the word fire engine compared to mellow, does that create a different feeling, or help us understand how we see our world? And that's what we're looking at with the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. Edward Sapir merged with a young linguist named Benjamin Whorf, and they developed this hypothesis. And the hypothesis accounts for differences in languages across cultures. What the Sapir... Okay, so looking at the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis in the effect of linguistic determinism, language structure controls our thought and cultural norms. Or, let's look at it, the structure of language determines how we think. The structure of language. Our language tells us what to think. When you think about salt, do you think of that as a high commodity? Probably not. It's something that we put on our pizza sometimes. However, in another culture, salt is like money. Salt is a value, a bargaining value, a bartering value. So let's go to the Solomon Islands. And here is a map of the Solomon Islands, and you could see the island way over here. And here we are, this little dot. And there's a culture in the Solomon Islands that revolves around the coconut. A coconut. A coconut is a high commodity in Solomon Islands, as I mentioned, salt with another part of the world. The coconut is a high commodity. And there are 9 different words for coconut in the Solomon Islands. We only have 1 word for coconut, because a coconut is, it's yummy to eat. It's great to make drinks out of. So it's not a high commodity in our culture. So how do we see the word coconut compared to someone from the Solomon Islands? Can you think of words that are highly valued in our culture? Is it like how we see the word rock compared to gold? So language will tell us how to think. For instance, a coconut in the Solomon Islands will be a high commodity, and we will think of that word highly compared to in the United States. The other part of the hypothesis, the linguistic relativism, people who speak different languages will see the world differently. Language of a culture provides a conceptual category that influences how its speakers' perceptions are encoded and stored. What is visual? What is visually seen and stored? So let's think about that. People who speak different languages will see the world differently, okay? And it's based on the fact that this language has a category in our minds that influences our perceptions, or that person's perceptions. So the word is encoded or understood differently, and stored differently. For example, lao. Lao means respect for the elderly. And in the Mandarin culture, lao is used because there's a high respect for the elderly in the Mandarin culture. The Mandarin. I'm getting a little tired here. The Mandarin culture. We don't really have a word that means respect for the elderly. We respect our elderly. We are reverent to our elderly, but we don't have one specific word. So the question is, in a sense, because they have a word, do folks in the Mandarin culture treat their elders differently based on learning this one word compared to other cultures? So linguistic relativism means that different languages, different cultures, because they may have a word for a particular situation, or an adjective, that they will think about it differently than we do. There's a word for respecting elders in the Mandarin culture, so there's more respect because this word is learned at a very young age. So even though we don't have a word, we do respect our elders. However, it might be at a different degree. Different languages see the world differently based on their culture. See if you could find some words from different cultures that mean something differently, or there's a different understanding or perception based on these words because it's based in this particular culture. Thank you.